Hello, beautiful people of the internet! How are you doing today? My name is Jackie and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today in this video, I'm going to be talking about 5 books that I need to read before the end of the year. However, knowing me, I probably will not read all 5 of these before 2021, but basically they're all books that I have put off for far too long and that I need to make a priority going forward. So definitely a good chunk of these are going to get read in the end of the year. I can't promise that I will read all of them, but I'm gonna do my best. I suck at making TBRs. I just don't do it because I'm a mood reader and I can tell myself that I'm going to read something in a certain month, but if that time comes around and I'm just not in the mood, I won't read it. I can't force myself. But these 5 books that I want to talk about in this video today are all books that I have put off for a long time and that I really want to make a priority going forward. So I'm going to try to read them as soon as I'm in the mood. I can't guarantee that will be before 2021, but I'm going to try to get these all read as soon as possible. So let's just get right into the video. First off, I'm going to talk about the book that I think I am most likely to read before the end of the year, and that's because I have to, like, I actually have to, and that's Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. This is a classic that I have wanted to read for a really long time. I bought this a little worn copy in middle school and I tried to read it, but at the time I think I was just too young and I didn't really understand the book. I didn't understand the framing device, so I've had it for so many years and I want to finally read it before 2021 because I want to talk about this in a school project. This is a 19th century Gothic romance following Cathy and Heathcliff. I think Cathy comes from a more well-off family and Heathcliff is a poor orphan who is taken into their home, and when they grow up they fall in love even though they can't actually be together. The back of the book describes this as one of the greatest love stories of all time, though I've heard many people say that from a modern perspective their relationship is extremely toxic. Regardless, I really wanted to read this for a long time. I read Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, Emily Bronte's sister, and I really loved that book. I actually only rated it 4 stars at the time when I read it last year, but in retrospect I definitely think it was 5 stars. I've thought about that book so much since then, and so since I'm an English major and I'm in my senior year, I'm taking a senior seminar class and I have to write a long scholarly paper at the end of the class for graduation. So I've decided that I'm going to write a paper comparing Jane Eyre and Wuthering Heights, talking about the Bronte sisters' work in the context of 19th century literature, stuff like that. So I figured that would give me something to talk about my paper and a reason to finally read this after having it for so many years. Now, this next book I want to talk about is one that I've already started and I've already read a good chunk of it. The problem is I put it down and it's now been months with me making no progress on it, so I have to get back into this book and just finally commit to finishing it, and that is The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. This book is huge and it's a hardcover, so it's really, really heavy. I have read more than 50% of this book, but it just hasn't gotten finished yet. I think I started this in April? It's now October, and I haven't finished it. You would think that means that I didn't enjoy this book and that I'm having a hard time getting through it, and that's not true. I actually was so engrossed in this book in the beginning, and I really, really loved it. Not to say that I don't anymore, it's just I was in a fantasy mood when I picked this up, and now I haven't been in a fantasy mood, which is why I haven't finished it. I just haven't been in a mood to read fantasy books. This is a standalone epic fantasy, and it's really, really interesting. We're following multiple different characters in multiple different locations across this world, and what I really like about this book is that there is a more Western-inspired society which has a queen and is more so typically what you see in fantasy. A lot of time in fantasies you see societies that are inspired by medieval European kingdoms. And then we also have a society that is inspired by Eastern culture. And what's really interesting is that in the Western society, dragons are seen as bad, but the Eastern society really highly reveres them, and to become a dragon rider is a very prestigious position. So we're following multiple characters. There's a sapphic relationship, which I really enjoy, and there were so many amazing moments in the beginning of this book that would make me gasp. The only reason I haven't finished this is because I just haven't been in the mood to read fantasy, but I need to finish this so badly because I've read so much of it and I'm starting to forget what was happening, so I really need to get back to it. And I really was liking the book. I just haven't been in the mood to read it, so that needs to be rectified for sure. So this next book I picked out in my Try a Chapter tag, link down below, that I did in February. It's now October and I haven't read the book yet, and that is Cut Me Free by J.R. Johansson. I did a Try a Chapter tag with young adult mysteries and thrillers because I own so many young adult mysteries and thrillers that I bought years ago that I haven't read, and it's gotten to a point where I know that if I don't read them soon, I'm never going to read them, and it would have just been a waste. And this is the book that I picked out in that Try a Chapter tag. This book is a young adult thriller that follows a main character who escaped an abusive situation. However, her younger brother was left behind, and now she has changed her identity in order to start over. But she begins receiving threatening messages, and she's afraid that somebody else is going to get hurt. Something like that. I don't even know if I explained that right. But this was the book that had the best first chapter and that I was the most interested in reading, and it hasn't happened yet, but it needs to, because if February 2021 comes around and it's been a whole year since I picked this book out in that video and I haven't read it, I'm gonna feel really stupid. I have been in a thriller mood recently, so maybe I should read this in November. I definitely need to get to it soon, so we'll see. The next book I'm going to talk about is the one that I think I'm the least likely to read before 2021, but I'd still like to see if I could possibly get to it, and that is Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. I am obsessed with this adorable Puffin in Bloom edition. I think it is so cute, but it is extremely long. It is over 700 pages, and I think that's why I haven't read this for so long, because honestly, I'm a little bit intimidated to read such a big classic. You've probably seen one of the many Little Women movie or TV adaptations that have came out. The Greta Gerwig one came out recently and was extremely popular. And the reason I want to read this book so badly is because when I was a kid, I had a children's version of the book, which was illustrated, and I read that book so much, it physically fell apart. This is a 19th century American classic about four sisters. It is semi-autobiographical based on Louisa May Alcott's life and her relationship with her sisters. And when I was little, I loved this story so much. And Jo March, the main character in particular, was a huge inspiration to me. She wanted to become a writer. That's been my lifelong dream, and it still is my dream. So I felt very emotionally connected to her, and I just loved the story. So I've always wanted to read the full classic, not just the children's version. But like I said, it's so long, I've never gotten to it. I hope to finally read this soon because it's a long time coming. I think this would be a great book to read in the winter, maybe around Christmas time. So hopefully I can read this in December, or if I don't get to it by then maybe January or February 2021. Yeah, I've just put this off for so long. I definitely want to read it. So the last book that I want to read before the end of the year was featured in my 5-star predictions video, and it is the only book mentioned in that video that I haven't read yet, and that is The Secret History by Donna Tartt. This is a super popular book. It has so much hype on BookTube and also on Tumblr, and it sounds really interesting to me. This is a dark academia, and it follows a group of friends at college, and one of them dies. I'm going to read the brief description on the back to you guys. Under the influence of their charismatic classics professor, a group of clever, eccentric misfits at an elite New England college discover a way of thinking and living that is a world away from the humdrum existence of their contemporaries. But when they go beyond the boundaries of normal morality, they slip gradually from obsession to corruption and betrayal, and at last, inexorably, into evil. So that sounds so interesting, and when I put this in my 5-star predictions video, I thought I was going to read it right away. I was so excited for it. But then, after I posted that video, I saw a lot of negative reviews about this book. People talking about how much they despised it, that it definitely lowered my excitement, because before that, all I'd seen was heaps and heaps of praise, and now I was seeing people talking about how they hated this book and lots of things in it didn't age well, because this book was written in 1992, long before I was even born. However, I do think I've gotten to a place where I am more excited to read this again. It sounds interesting to me. I've never read dark academia before, so I would like to give it a try. And yeah, this is the only book from that 5-star predictions video that I haven't read yet, so I would really like to finally read this, and then maybe I can make another 5-star predictions video or do a wrap-up just talking about the 5-star predictions and whether or not I gave any of them 5 stars. I did talk about the other books in that video on my channel already, but maybe after I read this, I will just make another video to wrap all that up for people who may not have seen my other videos. So, really excited to read this. I think it should be a lot of fun. And there you have it, guys. These are all of the books that I am hoping to read before 2021. I don't know if I will get to all of them, but I really want to read all of these books soon, and I am excited. I am excited for all of them in various ways, so you will probably see these books on my channel in the near future. Thank you so much for watching. Please give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more from me. I post new bookish videos every single Wednesday. My social media links are down below if you want to follow me on Tumblr, Instagram, or be my friend on Goodreads. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you have a heavenly rest of your day. Bye, and I'll see you in the next one.